Okay, let's go.
Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something that could totally change the way you look at money. We're breaking down the essential wisdom from Richard Templar's amazing book, The Rules of Money. It's basically a practical guide for how to think about, attract, and most importantly, manage wealth. So, let's jump right in.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like making money is some kind of secret club and you just don't have the password? Like, no matter how hard you hustle, you're just not getting ahead. It's a super frustrating feeling, and honestly, it's what keeps so many people stuck in the same place financially.
And hey, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. A whopping 90% of people feel this exact same way. It's this common idea that you need some incredible luck or to be born into a rich family to build wealth. But is that really the truth? Well, let's flip that on its head with a much more powerful number, a full 80%. 80% of the world's millionaires are self-made. They didn't get a lucky break or inherit a fortune. And that one fact, it changes everything. It proves that building wealth isn't about luck at all. It's about knowing the rules of the game.
And that, right there, brings us to our very first and maybe most important idea, the money mindset. You see, before you can make money, you have to learn how to think about money. And here's the crucial part. Anyone, and I mean absolutely anyone, can learn to adopt the mindset of the wealthy.
Just look at this slide. It lays it all out so perfectly. On one side, you have the poor mindset, which is really all about excuses, right? It's too hard. I don't have a chance. It's too risky. But then look at the other side, the rich mindset. It's all about solutions. I'll find a way. I'll learn how. Opportunities are all around me. That shift in thinking is the biggest hurdle for most people. We've all heard the saying, money can't buy happiness. And yeah, that's true. But what money can do is act as a tool. It's a tool that protects you from the kind of problems that can absolutely wreck your happiness. Think about it like this. A sudden medical emergency pops up. If you have no savings, that's not just a health crisis, it's a financial disaster. But if you do have savings, it's still stressful for sure, but it's manageable. Money didn't buy happiness there, but it bought peace of mind, and that's priceless.
All right, so we've got the thinking part down, but how do you put that mindset into practice? Well, that's what's next. We're moving on to the very first step to building real wealth, and that's creating a financial foundation that is completely non-negotiable.
And that foundation is built on three simple but powerful pillars. First, you've got to get brutally honest with yourself about what's a need versus what's just a want. Second, paying off your high-interest debt has to become your absolute #1 top priority. And third, you have to make saving a habit. Every single month, no matter what, you pay yourself first, before anyone else gets a piece of your paycheck. And this right here is why getting out of debt is just so critical. The debt trap, as you see here, is this horrible cycle where you're just borrowing new money to pay off old money. It's like being on a financial treadmill you can't get off of, and it will absolutely drain your future. The only way out is to stop, focus, and attack those high-interest debts with everything you've got. Okay, so once that foundation is solid as a rock, it's time to level up. This is where you make a huge shift in your thinking, from just being a saver to becoming an investor. This is the game-changing step, where your money finally starts working for you instead of you always working for it.
I mean, think about spending. It's a one-way street. The second you spend that money, its potential is just gone. Poof. It leaves your pocket and it's never coming back.
But investing, that's a totally different story. When you invest, your money becomes your employee. Its only job is to go out into the world and come back with friends, more money. The book tells a great story about two friends, Ravi and Sanjay. Every time Ravi got a raise, he'd upgrade his lifestyle. Sanjay, on the other hand, invested his raises. Eventually, the money Sanjay's investments were making for him was more than his actual salary. That's the incredible power we're talking about.
So where do you put this money to work? Well, you've got the classic options here, right? The stock market, mutual funds, real estate. All great. But I really want you to focus on that last one, investing in your own skills, upgrading your knowledge, learning something new. That might just be the highest return investment you ever make, period.
Now, as you start to build some wealth, the game totally changes. See, making money is one challenge, but keeping it, that's the real game. Your focus has to shift towards protecting what you've worked so hard to build, because life will always throw you curveballs. Think of this as your financial fortress. First up, you need a shield. That's your insurance. Health, car, home, you've got to have it. Next, you need a lockbox. Those are your solid legal documents for your assets. And finally, you need an escape hatch. That's your emergency fund, with enough cash to cover 6 to 12 months of expenses. It's your ultimate safety net. And that brings us to our final rule. And this one can be a little tricky because it's all about the psychology of money, especially when it comes to the people we care about. It's about being generous, for sure, but not being a fool about it. You really need to understand the difference here. On the one hand, you've got foolish generosity. It's driven by emotion, and while it feels good in the moment, it can actually hurt people by creating dependency. Even worse, it can sink your own ship. On the other hand, smart generosity comes from a place of wisdom. It helps those who truly need it, but only after your own foundation is secure. The book tells a story about a guy named Rahul who gave his emergency fund to a friend, then faced his own crisis and had nothing. It's a tough lesson to learn. And really, it all boils down to this one powerful idea. In matters of money, you have to use your head, not just your heart. It's simple. You can't help anyone if your own boat is sinking. You have to secure your own oxygen mask first, right? Your financial stability has to be the priority, because that's the only way you can be in a position to truly help anyone else.
So, after all of this, from changing your mindset to saving, to investing, and finally protecting your wealth, it really all comes down to you. The knowledge is right here. The path is clear. The decision is now yours and yours alone. So the only real question left is, when are you going to start?